She got $25 million and kicked me out of my own house. 3 days later, she showed up crying, begging for help. I should have slammed the door, but I didn't. Here's what really happened, and why I don't regret it. I never thought I'd be the kind of man who'd sit down and tell strangers about how his own daughter turned her back on him. But here I am. I'm not looking for pity. I just want to get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there will understand. Maybe someone's been through something similar. My name's Richard. I'm 62 years old. I've lived in Ohio my whole life. Worked construction most of it. Nothing fancy. Just poured concrete, laid bricks, fixed things. I raised my daughter, Emily, mostly on my own. Her mother left when she was 6. Said she couldn't handle the quiet life, wanted something bigger. I didn't chase her. I just focused on Emily. She was a good kid. Smart, quiet, always reading. I did what I could to give her a decent life. We didn't have much, but I made sure she had books, clothes, food, and a roof over her head. I never missed a school play, never forgot a birthday. I wasn't perfect, but I was there. I thought that counted for something. Emily went to college on scholarships. Studied finance. I didn't understand half of what she was learning, but I was proud. She graduated with honors, got a job in New York, started making real money. We talked less after that. She was busy, I figured. I didn't want to bother her. I'd send texts, sometimes she'd reply. Sometimes not. I told myself it was normal. Kids grow up, they move on. Then, about 6 months ago, she called me out of the blue. Said she was coming back to Ohio for a few days. I was thrilled. Cleaned the house, bought her favorite snacks, even fixed the old porch swing she used to love. She showed up in a black SUV, dressed like someone out of a magazine. Expensive coat, designer bag, heels that didn't look like they were made for walking. She hugged me, smiled, said she missed me. I believed her. We sat in the kitchen, talked for hours. She told me she'd been working with some venture capital firm, made some smart investments, and one of them had just paid off big. Real big. $25 million. I didn't even know how to react. I just stared at her. She laughed, said she was going to buy a house, maybe start her own company. I told her I was proud. I meant it. Then she got quiet. Said she wanted to talk about the house. My house. The one I'd lived in for 30 years. She said it was old, falling apart, and not safe. I told her I'd been fixing things as best I could. She said she wanted to buy me a condo in the city. Something modern. I said I didn't want to leave. She said I was being stubborn. I said it was my home. She said it was her money. The next morning, she had a realtor come by. I didn't know what was happening. They walked through the house, took pictures, made notes. I asked Emily what was going on. She said she was buying the house. I said it wasn't for sale. She said it was already done. I didn't understand. She said she'd bought the land from the county, something about back taxes I hadn't paid. I didn't even know I owed anything. She said she'd taken care of it, and now the house was hers. I was stunned. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there. She said I had 3 days to move out. She'd already arranged for movers. Asked her why. She said she wanted to renovate, maybe flip it. Said it was just business. I asked her if I could stay in the guest room of her new place. She said it wasn't a good idea. Said I needed to learn to be independent. I told her I'd been independent my whole life. She didn't respond. I packed my things. Not much. Some clothes, my tools, a few photos. I moved into a cheap motel on the edge of town. The kind with flickering lights and a vending machine that eats your quarters. I didn't hear from her. I didn't call. I just sat there trying to make sense of it. I kept thinking maybe she'd come around. Maybe she'd realize what she'd done. But she didn't. 3 days later, I was sitting in that motel room, watching the news on a fuzzy screen, when my phone rang. It was Emily. Her voice was shaking. She said she needed help. I asked what happened. She said something about a deal gone wrong, lawyers, threats. I didn't understand half of it. She said she was scared. Said she didn't know who else to call. I didn't say anything. Just listened. She asked if she could come see me. I said okay. She showed up an hour later, makeup smeared, eyes red. She looked like a different person. Not the polished woman from a few days ago. Just a scared kid. My kid. She sat on the edge of the bed, told me everything. Some guy she'd partnered with had tricked her. Used her name, her money, and now she was liable. She said she might lose everything. I asked her why she didn't tell me sooner. She said she was ashamed. I didn't know what to say. I just sat there, watching her cry. She asked if I hated her. I said no. I said I was hurt, but I didn't hate her. She asked if I'd help her. I said I didn't have much to offer. She said she didn't need money. She needed someone she could trust. Someone who wouldn't lie to her. Someone who'd stand by her. I said I'd always been that person. She nodded. We sat there in silence for a long time. Just breathing. Just being. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know if she'd get out of the mess she was in. But I knew I couldn't turn my back on her. Not now. Not ever. She stayed in that motel room with me that night. Didn't ask for anything, didn't complain. Just curled up under the thin blanket and fell asleep like she hadn't slept in days. I sat in the chair by the window, listening to the hum of the highway outside, thinking about everything. About how fast things had changed. About how the girl I raised had become someone I barely recognized, and then, just as quickly, someone I couldn't turn away from. In the morning, I went out and got us coffee and some breakfast sandwiches from the gas station down the road. She was still asleep when I got back. I didn't wake her. Just sat there, sipping coffee, watching the light creep across the stained carpet. When she finally opened her eyes, she looked at me like she wasn't sure if I was real. I told her the food was getting cold. She smiled barely. We talked more that day. She told me the guy she'd partnered with, his name was Darren, had convinced her to invest in a crypto startup. Said it was going to revolutionize something or other. She didn't understand all the details, but he made it sound like a sure thing. She put in 10 million. Then another 5. Then signed some papers she didn't read closely. Turns out he'd used her name to secure loans, and now the company was being investigated for fraud. She was on the hook for everything. I asked her if she'd gone to the police. She said her lawyers were handling it, but they weren't optimistic. Said she might lose her assets, her reputation, maybe even face charges. She looked at me like she was drowning. I didn't know what to say. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a businessman. I'm just a guy who poured concrete for 30 years. But I told her I'd help however I could. We spent the next few days making calls, organizing documents, trying to piece together what had happened. I didn't understand half of it, but I stayed by her side. She moved out of her fancy hotel and into a small rental near the edge of town. Said she couldn't afford the suite anymore. I helped her carry boxes, set up furniture, fix the leaky faucet. It felt familiar. Like old times. She started opening up more. Told me she'd felt pressure to prove herself. Said everyone around her was chasing bigger deals, bigger risks, and she didn't want to be left behind. Said she thought if she made enough money, she could fix everything, her past, her insecurities, even our relationship. I told her money doesn't fix things. It just makes the cracks harder to see. She nodded, didn't argue. One night she asked me why I never fought back when she kicked me out. I told her I didn't think it would help. That I didn't want to make things worse. That I figured she'd come around eventually. She cried again. Said she was sorry. Said she didn't know what she was doing. I told her I forgave her. Not because it was easy, but because she was my daughter. And that meant something. We started spending more time together. Not just dealing with the mess, but talking. Real talking. About her childhood, about her mother, about the things she never said. She told me she used to feel like she had to earn my love. I told her she never had to. That I loved her from the moment I held her in my arms. That nothing she did could change that. She didn't say anything. Just held my hand. Eventually, the legal stuff started to settle. She lost a lot. Most of the money was gone. Her name was cleared, but her reputation took a hit. She said she was thinking of starting over. Maybe something smaller. Something honest. I told her I'd help. She asked if I'd move in with her. I said I'd think about it. Truth is, I already knew I would. We found a little house on the edge of town. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a small yard, a porch swing. She said she wanted to fix it up together. I taught her how to patch drywall, how to sand wood, how to lay tile. She laughed when she messed up. I laughed with her. It felt good. Like something real. Sometimes, I still think about those 3 days. About how fast she turned on me. About how fast she came back. I don't pretend it didn't hurt. It did. But I also know people make mistakes. Especially when they're scared. Especially when they think they're alone. I don't know what the future holds for her. Or for me. But I know we're facing it together now. And that's enough. So yeah, my daughter got $25 million and kicked me out of my own house. And 3 days later, she came back, begging for help. But that's not the whole story. The real story is what came after. The rebuilding. The forgiveness. The quiet moments that reminded me why I never gave up on her. Why I never will. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.